Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now, as usual, we start with the Weekend Trust, where we have the major story saying, police for hire, your safety for a fee. I mean, Mariam, police for hire. I mean, you know,
I'm just so speechless at this point,
yeah,
you know?
The Inspector General of Police has said that if you want to get police to stand, you know, to protect VIPs now after being withdrawn, you have to now reapply again with concrete reasons why you need the police protection.
Why I told you that I'm speechless is that we are still going back to the status quo, so to say, because most of the elites have the money to hire, and it's going to be like it's not, they weren't recorded at all. So that is it. We're going back to the initial position already.
Well, this is going to be a conversation for much later, which we have seen the Senate actually deliberate on the insecurity and why the protection was were withdrawn, and why they need why they are pushing for, you know, the firearms law to be looked into, to revisit the law also. So you can find more details on page 4 of the Weekend Trust. And then meat, vegetables, our foods, our poison. You can see the picture. You can find more details on page 11. Gunmen kill 3 immigration officers at Kebbi border. I mean, we just spoke about it a little bit. You can find more details on page 20. It's a sad situation to see. It's a sad situation to see, and, you know, and we are just waiting and hoping that the perpetrators are going to be called out and something is going to be done, and justice has to be served at this point, because, you know, the immigration officers that were at the border, they are there to save people's lives, to know who comes in and out, and this heinous crime shouldn't go unpunished. Well, that's the much that we have for the Weekend Trust. And now we'll move on to more newspapers.
And Saturday Punch. In Saturday Punch, there's DHQ summons grills soldiers in Abuja. How military opted for negotiation after failed rescue. Attacks won't stop our children from returning to school, says the victim's parents. Like we mentioned earlier, Fatima, it's been a series of insecurity stories, sad stories, abduction, mass abduction, kidnappings, killings, and what have you since the beginning of November. It has been happening, but it's escalated from the beginning of November, and we're still talking insecurity every day. Well, you can find this in page 4.
You know, there were rumors that they said it's because the President Trump threatened he's going to come, and hence the more you know, push for the insecurity, extra
and
energy,
you know it was when he declared Nigeria as, you know,
country
CPC,
of,
you know, that these things just started escalating from nowhere.
That's what people are saying.
It was quiet at some point, but when he just came out and talked about the Christian genocide, everything just
changed.
You know.
Meanwhile, and you don't forget the rumors that the sponsorship is also coming from the United States and other countries. Allegedly,
there was actually a video.
Yes, you know, so that shows why. And there are also some Chinese were also caught, you know, supporting because of the illegal mining. They are paying some of these terrorists within the axis of where they are mining to protect, you know, the environment where they are mining, so other terror group would not attack them and what have you, and, you know, stuffs like that. I don't know why such thing will be happening in our country under the eyes of our military and the president himself.
It's just so devastating at this point. Well, this story is right in page 4 of the Saturday Punch. Obasanjo to FG, stop apologizing, negotiating with terrorists. This is right in page 8 of the Punch. Just like you mentioned that the peace deal has nothing to write home about, you know, it's been there, and giving them amnesty at this point is just so baseless, you know.
I don't think it will work, and I don't know why this whole situation is mostly in the north. I don't know what's wrong with the northerners at this point. Why do we have to keep killing each other, you know? And I'm happy that the president actually announced national emergency at this point. So I think this is going to make our Senate, the House of Representatives, you know, the military, everyone that is supposed to be on their feet to see that security, is back, and people can move freely, go to markets, go to their farmlands, go to schools without any fear that they're going to be abducted or they're going to be killed. So we are waiting to see what's going to be done from now up until next week or to the end of this year. We want to see more people, more of this terrorists being fished out and punished according to the crimes that they have committed.
And I mean, it's coming closer to home. It's already happening in Buhari, and Buhari is just few minutes away.
Well, it's showing that even where the president is saying we can actually invade, that's what it shows, that they are showing that the security architecture, yes, the security architecture of Nigeria is actually weak. That's what it means. If they can actually invade, start coming closer to the communities that are within the FCT. And how many minutes is from here to Buhari?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you can find this on page 8. U.S. lawyers raped me at Bar Association conference. Ex-American judge Ademilui. Well, this is right in page 28 of the Saturday Punch. Burna Boy faces fan fury post-plug on U.S. tour. This should be in our entertainment stories much later, and you can find this on page 17. Then there's a story about actress Edemudia talking about kissing passionately on set means nothing. You can find this on page 16. That's on the entertainment side in Saturday Punch. Marked identity. How recycled SIM cards sent innocent citizens to jail. This is right in page 22 and 23 of Saturday Punch. Guinea-Bissau coup more painful than losing to Buhari, says Jonathan. Well, this story has been going on since yesterday, and you can find it in page 4. No true Muslim will kill Christians, says Islamic cleric Eleha. You can find this in page 2. And right under, below the front page, is blocked preacher Omolehin's camp reveals more details against PFN. And Nigeria elected into UN Agencies Council. This is the much that there is in the Saturday Punch this morning.
Let's quickly take a look at Saturday Vanguard. And on Saturday Vanguard, the major story there says insecurity. Our ranks, equipment have been infiltrated. This is coming from a retired general. And the writer says, go after terrorism sponsors to stop this nonsense. How to rescue Nigeria. You can find more details on page 10 of the Weekend Trust. National security emergency, generals react. That's what we talked about with the president announcing national security emergency. Well, we're waiting to see what unfolds. You can find more details on page 10. And then you can see Daniela Okeke. Well, you can find more details about her story on page 21. And then we are seeing Rihanna, Eminem react as Burna Boy battles cancel culture, which we'll definitely talk about much later. You can find more details on page 21. How a song about Nigeria became Jimmy Clef's chart buster. You can find more details on page 31. Cardoso, Nigeria attracts a $20.98 billion foreign capital inflow in 10 months. You can find more details on page 29. Insecurity, Nigeria free to seek help from outside. This is coming from Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria. Yes, I mean, I've seen the video where he's saying if our security and our government is failing us, then we have the right to seek for international support. And I totally agree at this point, because it seems like the whole thing is getting out of hand. It feels like our military are not well prepared. They don't have the equipment. They don't have what it takes for them to go in to these bushes to fight this terrorists. I mean, there's a video circulating of one of the military soldiers was talking about when he heard the sound of the gun that these terrorists were shooting. He knows that it's nothing compared to what they are holding. And hence the scare and the fear for them to even face some of this terrorists. I mean, they have literally taken over their vans and everything.
Fatima, the military that couldn't even take care of these terrorists when they were not this strong. How about now?
Exactly. The more they kidnap people, the more they collect ransoms, the more they equip themselves. And our Nigerian militaries will not collect ransom to get equipment, and billions and billions of dollars, nairas have been spent on insecurity, and still we are seeing that it's still weak. Where is the money going to?
Corruption has eaten them. You know
exactly. Well, I totally agree with the former president. At this point, you can find more details on page 30. Uniport student sentenced to death for killing and dismembering lover. I mean, if you remember, I think 2023, the student killed his lover and dismembered her body, and her body was found. And now he was sentenced. I mean, I wish I could have taken the picture of people so that people could remember, but you know, he's sentenced yesterday and the story came out. You can find more details on page 29 for you to remember who is being talked about. A grieving family of 8 die in Benue auto crash. You can find more details on page 9. I mean, I saw a video also yesterday in Lugbe. A man lost his life driving, and he ran into a truck that was parked, not knowing that the truck was parked. And the passerby said that he was making call and he was rushing his father to the hospital. So his father was in the car, literally where the driver, the son, is gone. He died instantly. We have to understand that we can't keep driving and making calls. You have to, at that point that you're rushing your dad to the hospital, I don't think it's even a time for you to even pick a call. Maybe he was
under pressure or something.
Possibly, maybe he's trying to reach out to family, you know, or maybe the doctors to say, oh, my father, I'm bringing him to the hospital, whatever it could be. But at that point, since you're already driving, you're speeding probably because you want to meet.
I know Lugbe Road is kind of, it's a highway, and the speed there,
I mean, if you see the picture, if you see the video, you're going to freeze. It's a terrible sight to see. But please, we need to understand that we need to be driving safe and careful especially in situations like that. You can find more details on page 9. Who owns Dirty December? Nigerians prepare for it. I mean, you can find more details on page 23, but at this point, I don't think Nigerians are even preparing for Dirty December.
Because of the whole situation that's
people
happening.
have lost their loved ones. I don't
Most
think
people are not even back because of the
exactly. I don't think a lot of people will have the zeal, will have the feel that they want to actually celebrate. They are mourning. They are scared to even go for gatherings now because anyone can just barge in and, you know, gun them down. So I don't think people will be preparing at this point. I can't wait to see what the airports, what the motor parks, you know, train station is going to look like during this period. I just feel like people wouldn't travel at this point.
Well, you know, in situations that even worship houses are no longer safe. How about parties or parks or whatever?
Exactly.
And people are scared of the road because there's no money, and these bad guys are already on the highways waiting for travelers. And
the funny thing is, you know, that this situation is not just in Nigeria. I mean, I saw a video that got me crying yesterday in the night. I don't want to even talk about it. It's dirty to even think of, you know, something like that in a mosque, and a man could literally do what he did. We'll definitely talk about that much later, but, you know, probably off camera, because it's not even a nice thing to even talk about. I don't know how people are thinking now. You know, it's not just Nigeria. This didn't happen in Nigeria, but I'm just like, people literally just sitting and thinking crime in their head, and they tend to carry it out.
How do they try to, how do they think about things? How do they create the ideas on their head and just implement them?
It seems like
it's just so crazy.
It seems like, you know, the devil part of people is actually taking over than the good part of them. Well, you can find more details on page 29 about the Dirty December. And then football failure, Pinnick Green in shadow boxing. You can find more details on page 19. And then also what's going on with all the, you know, LGBTQ changing people. Yeah, changing the world. That's what it says. We can find more details on page 20. That's if you're interested in knowing what they are talking about at this point. I know a lot of people would be like, no, we don't want to know what's happening. So but then you can find more details on page 20, and that's the much that there is for the Saturday Vanguard.
Oh, well, now to the Tribune. Saturday Tribune. Banditry, terrorism are self-inflicted by North. ACF chair says it's time to declare a war situation. Terrorists attack immigration checkpoint, kill 3 officers in Kebbi, go after bandits attacking Nigerians, Christian elders tax FG. This is right in page 4. Southwest residents should prepare to defend themselves, says Sheikh Akurba Gold. This is right in page 8. Kwara South suffers banditry because government has abandoned its responsibility, says Professor Omotosho, President Kwara Ekiti Indigenes. This is right in page 22. At Ibadan Court, my wife of 29 years now sleeps with landlord. Other men in our neighborhood. This is such a very sad one, says husband. He shouldn't complain because he abandoned me after getting a new wife, says the wife. Now she has agreed that she actually sleeps with the landlord and other neighbors, but the husband shouldn't complain too much. Well, this is such an interesting read, and you can find it in page 12 of the Saturday Tribune. Right at the top is FCTA begins enforcement actions on revoked 1,095 property titles. This is right in page 5. How Okada rider who sought help from friend was murdered in Ibadan. This is right in page 13. And that is it for the Saturday Tribune this morning.
All right, let's quickly rush to the Guardian. And the major story there says, as Yuletide beckons, motorists, commuters agonize over deplorable interstate roads. You can find more details on page 8 and 9. And then Nigerians spend 21.8 trillion on petrol in 12 months. That's a whole lot. But then you can find more details on page 2. Nigeria doesn't violate religious freedom, FG says nation battling worsening terrorism. You can find more details on page 2. Banana Island property, Bunza accuses NDIC of intimidation, vows to seek legal redress. You can find more details on page 3. Oberoi unveils ambitious 1.664 trillion Delta 2026 budget. And then the writer says target records infrastructure growth. So that's what they are targeting for their budget. I mean, almost all the governors that have submitted their budgets, infrastructure is one of the main things that they have on their budget. You can find more details on page 41. And then inside the race to fill Ijebu lands, Awojale stole. You can find you can find more details on page 10. Again, bulldozer roars in Orosaki, rendering over 3,000 residents homeless. You can find more details on page 5. And then that's the much that we have for the Saturday, the Guardian weekend this morning. I mean, we have almost the whole situation happening within the week has been packed here, and then more details, because definitely, there are some things that needed to be unfolded before the stories will be put out. I mean, we are seeing a whole lot for people to actually feed on at this point. Thinking of the December, thinking of New Year. I mean, I was just cracking jokes with my family, like, are you going for crossovers? Because I know that there are people that actually go for crossovers. I don't know if they're going to go for crossovers this year.
Lots of people are really skeptical about going at this point because of the Kwara
Because you won't
incident.
even know if the next person close to you is a terrorist or is a kidnapper at the end of the day. So, well, let's go on a quick break. I will open the phone lines to hear from you. Are firearms the way forward?